we appreciate this brief introduction. And I want to start by saying that the mission for what is ahead of us is one that we need to set a roadmap. I think by the time we connected with every one of us, we saw the first banner, which was already designed. And some thoughts has actually been coming. What is this all about? Where are we going with this particular proposition? When are we actually getting started? This is actually something that we cannot just get started without underscoring the basis for this particular relationship. I want to say that first thing first, everyone that is on this particular call is passionate about Africa, is passionate about Nigeria. And we owe it to our generation to educate them and then expose them to what they do not know. Blockchain technology is something that holds a lot. But the question is, how many of these youths actually know more about this? If we do not do something about that, then we should not be so comfortable blaming our fathers that the last generation of colonization that they never acted. So I think that is one of the reasons why we are coming together to create a path. This is actually going to scale, which means that everyone that is going to be part of this team should be able to bring something on the table. Because it's not just going to end only focusing on blockchain technology alone. If we are able to create this particular sensitization, and then we become a voice at the end of the day, then the purpose of this particular relationship can actually take another dimension. Can actually take another dimension. Now, I want us to critically look at the banner that has actually been designed. And this particular banner that has been designed will give us insight into where we want to start from. And then we're going to open this up for our ideas, our suggestion about what this is going to achieve or areas that we need to make what improvement. So I want to open this up. Let's see, can I share screen? Let's see. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
All right. So this is where we are getting started from. We choose the subject, harnessing the opportunities of an emerging digital economy. What's our key? The key is that it's a free national digital education campaign. That's our key. What that means is that we want every Nigerian across the 36 states to do what? To have a feel about the next emerging world, digital world economy. Who is our audience? We are looking at African undergraduate students, NYC members, aspiring digital entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. What's our training focus? We are looking at knowledge capital of blockchain technology skill power of digital blocks or cryptocurrency trading, the place of women in a digital economy, digital intelligence to avoid digital scams. I want us to really extray this so that we can all know the role because we have been carefully selected. First thing first, our target audience. Why have we chosen this particular target audience? Why? I'm throwing it open. Why have we chosen this particular targeted audience? Is it right? Are there other groups that we are meeting? I want to get feedback.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I believe the target audience is very clear and perfect. So, undergraduates are the key foundation of any system when it comes to knowledge pursuit. Any business that you're able to capture undergrad, it's like you close the, okay, thank you. Any business that you're able to capture the undergraduates, you have pretty much captured the next generation of that business, because they're the people who easily see the future that the business holds. So I think that makes so much sense. Then the next set of people is the NYSC members. Most of them don't know their left from their right, even though they are done with school and NYSC. Sometimes their head is clouded with a lot of things, a lot of fantasies, that by the time they finish from their NYSC, there is job somewhere for them to, start making money. And by the time they are done with their NYSC, it feels seem as though it fall off their eyes. And then they start asking, what next? So I believe, targeting them as well is like giving them an opportunity of things they can choose from if they're able to understand how the digital economy can affect them positively. Now, all these things depends on the people who are going to be, taking this message to them, how this message is structured, the facilitators who are going to handle it. If they are able to harness, project this as an opportunity beyond knowledge. There's a way you project something to people, you are only giving them information. And there's a way you project something to people, they see it as an opportunity, a skill that they can take up as a personal thing, and then, build something out of it. So, this audience is very key. Then the next is aspiring digital entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. And the way this audience is structured, I want to give kudos to the person who did this structuring, because it's just like step 1, step 2, step 3 kind of thing. The undergraduates are the first set of people who are still in the scratch. The NYSC are those who are in the intermediate, and the aspiring digital entrepreneurs and infopreneurs are assumed to be those who are done with school, maybe done with NYSC, but are now aspiring to start doing something. So catching them is very key. But the question is this: we all know how we can capture the undergraduates, basically doing the campaigns in universities across Nigeria. We know how to capture the NYSC members, of course, going to their CDS camps. But how do we capture the aspiring digital entrepreneurs? Because these ones are scattered all over the place. That's the question that comes to my mind regarding the audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Philip and Peter, for this particular elaborate contribution. And I think that's exactly part of the things that we are going to be breaking down. We have known our target audience, undergraduates at the university level. So that means that we need to set out modalities to be able to connect all the institutions in Nigeria and then get to them. No one in the tertiary institution should be left out. You get it? So
Yeah.
no one. So we need to look at how we can actually get these messages as far as to the classroom. In my private time where I was thinking, I said, we can actually find a way to create a leadership structure deep down and have a strong network, which means that right from the SUG, faculty, department, and then classes, can we set up a structure of leadership in every institution as against this move on awareness on this digital education campaign? So what is coming to my mind is, first of all, we need to list out which states do we have influence. That's where we start from, to be able to actually penetrate the universities. Which state? When we are able to list out the states where we have influence or have power, possibly we know the VC, or we have contact with the student affairs, you get it, the dean of student affairs, or we have friends who are maybe lecturers in this particular place. We can open communication about this particular movement to them. Part of the things that is very key in this particular, because it's a free national digital campaign, education campaign. So we are not actually charging money, you get it, for this particular campaign. So we need to also look at how are we going to actually finance this particular work project. Some of the things that's coming to my mind is, if we package the first outing, we will definitely get certain organizations to actually collaborate with us so that they can, tap into this particular movement. So for undergraduate students, I am proposing, one, we should actually identify which universities are we going to focus on. And when we identify the university, we look at which states are we going to start from. So we can segment it, let's say phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Now, under phase 1, I want us to think about that and identify which university or which state are we going to cover in our first phase. That's one. Then, after that, we'll now begin to look at, having identified this particular institution, the next thing is, when do we go? How do we actually get this particular institution to buy into what we are doing? Of course, I know there's some paperwork that's going to be required, which would involve possibly writing to the school and then informing them about this. And then we should be talking about, okay, if the school has an auditorium, you get it, this particular auditorium need to be available, you get to that week and come in. Then too, if there's need for us to actually stick with the NYS, the student union government, we need to also do that. So these are the 3 tiers that can help us, harness the potential of that particular world community. I'm also going to welcome feedback and comment as regards that particular aspect. For NYSC, yes, for some of us who have left the NYSC, we need to still go back now and then review and know how does the NYSC run in Nigeria. Dr. Chime, do you still have,
yes.
Are you still conversant with the current NYSC program in Nigeria? How does it run?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm too conversant with exactly what they do exactly now, but it's something I can actually find out, to know how. But I know that usually they allow people to come talk to them on particular days. At least the one in Lagos here. Okay, there's a particular day that's for people from outside to just come talk to them and they're living NYSC and all of that, so we can key in on that. But I'm going to do more research to find out exactly how it works for the NYSC.
Okay, so we need to do that because I believe that there are various streams now, stream 1 and stream 2.
Yes.
So
yes,
we need to know
in fact,
streams, when which one is starting and when which one is ending, and when which one is passing out. And so we need to know their calendar, know when they are coming in, and when they are coming in, they are going to be in camp. And when they are through with camp, they are actually scattered in the local government. Now, the local government, they have their CDS in terms of where they normally meet once every week. And then at the state secretariat, everybody was after. So these are the structure of that particular. So we need to understand that particular community. And then when we understand that, then we can now know how best we can approach them in terms of what we want to actually provide for them. So that's for the NYSC. So I think our next meeting we should be looking at this structure and understanding it properly. For the African undergraduate students, we look at the universities that we aim to actually get to, and then see how we can penetrate. Then if there is any one of us who already have some contacts, it's easier when we already have contact and we can exploit that contact. Because if all of this will also require some bureaucracy. There are some time you write a letter and before they consider it. But if you have access to, let's say, SUG, and you are able to communicate this, and SUG could quickly rally around and ASAP, they can make time available and create a campaign in the school. Fine. Are you getting it? So we will look inward internally and see where we have our areas of strength.
I think I have a suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah. I can see in the banner that we have a couple of companies here. We have Zedicon, we have Physical, we have Crypto TV Plus.
Yeah.
And based on what I know, last year Crypto TV Plus, in conjunction with CBAN, organized a campus BCAT stuff, of which is still ongoing, I believe, for this year. And with that, they've been able to penetrate a couple of universities, and they already have a good number of followership in those campuses. So I believe since the logo is here, it means there's a level of understanding of partnership that exists, and we can tap into that, and they can share us. Maybe they can give us the access that they used. You understand? Through the campus BCATs. It will be easier for us to penetrate those same universities that have already penetrated, and we can now take it up from there to start doing other universities. If they have already done it, it's going to be much easier for us to do it again using the same audience. They can send an email, or they can reach out to the same database of students that attended that campus BCAT and tell them that we are coming for this very one after we are finished meeting with the SUG through their own access. You understand? And then you can take it off from there for other universities that they have not reached.
If you see the
yes. Okay.
For me, I'm also thinking that we should have a starting point from here, since basically most of us are here. If we can do the universities in Lagos, because it's gonna be easier for us to, at least if we're going directly, we can go to the necessary schools, find out how they run their system and all of that. At least we start from here, and we'll be able to connect. It's not as if we're not going to do those other ones that Crypto TV already has access to, but since we're all here, it's easier to start from here. There are a whole lot of schools around here. If we get a good number of them, I think that would also be fine.
I think that's actually okay. Go ahead.
Okay, then again, I wanted to say something. Just that this flyer, really nice, awesome flyer. But I'm also thinking that maybe subsequent one, since we are trying to, the training focus, if our audience here, I don't know how we're going to do it, but my thinking is that there should be a place to, something that would try to capture the idea that female presence should be there. When we see undergraduate students, of course, they're just everybody is inclusive, but if we can do a little bit more to draw the female attention to it, because if you look at some of this thing, when it comes in this form, people think that it's a masculine thing, it's a female, it's digital, all those stuff. They think it's more for the guys. So it is a way we can put something that will draw their attention that the female, I have seen the training focus though, but I'm talking about the audience. I don't know if it's going to be okay to say female in, I'm trying to figure out the right word to use, but I mean something that would attract the female also to pay special attention to the event.
Okay, I think that's it's also noted. Like I said, this is our first outing, and then there are a lot of other articulated team subjects that we can actually also bring into the table. This is already going far away, but it's actually what noted in terms of positioning the female gender to let them know that their place, they have it according to the new ladies gender.
Gender balancing.
Gender balancing.
Yeah.
So we'll take note of that. Okay. Now the point I'm taking from this is, let's start from where we have control. Lagos. In Lagos State, we have a lot of schools. What we need is a couple of success on this particular movement, and then it's going to open up other places. Do we agree to that?
That's my thinking too.
So we'll look at Lagos. So what we are looking at is possibly on our next call, we should be talking about the schools that we have in Lagos State. That's what we're going to be focusing on. And how do we actually now begin to get to these particular places? So I think the focus for Lagos is school. Let us build around Lagos State for now. Then the same thing is also going to be applicable too for the NYC. For NYC, let us also see what we can do with the local government in Lagos State for the NYC and start from home, where most of us are available. Now, Mr. Franklin made mention of aspiring digital entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. My thinking, this aspect would lead to the point whereby we're actually going to organize more like a bigger conference. You get it? This particular conference will be an open conference which is focused on those people who have actually left school, that we are not meeting in their own community. So we would work towards this particular one, maybe not in the immediate. Now, since we now understand our audience and where we are going, we need to start, we need to kickstart. And according to the flyer, if you look at the other flyer that was sent, where we have our pictures, it made mention of both offline and online. I repeat, both offline and online. The reason is this. The online aspect is meant to accommodate places where we cannot go for now. So that means that we should be ready to support these. The faculty members should be able to, on the day where we are having our online training on Zoom, different faculty members should be able to handle different subjects. Different faculty members should be able to handle different subjects. So we keep on creating that particular awareness about this particular training so that people can actually connect and then they look forward to this particular training, especially those who cannot meet us physically. You get it in the offline training section. So, since this particular flyer is out, it also came out. It also came along with a Google form. And that particular Google form is meant for us to also capture our audience in terms of those who are interested. And since we are pushing this collectively, I'm suggesting that we all put our energy together to drive interest for individuals to connect to that particular Google form. The truth is that whatever data that is actually connected or collated from that particular Google form is going to be open to all the faculty members so that we can have access to that particular data. So if I'm talking about harnessing the opportunity for an emerging digital economy, how can I actually become part of this? Please let us actually push that Google form to our various contacts during our publicity campaign. It will go a long way for us to begin to use the data analytics to filter the kind of people that are indicating interest that they want to be part of this particular world event. And if we now set up a particular conference in their location, it is easier for us to send a message to them because they have already indicated interest before now. Now, having said this, we need to critically look at this training focus. At least, since this week we are entering, we want to actually get started. I would run through this particular training focus so that each and every one of us that is here should be able to look at the area that he would be handling. Mr. Franklin, as you are the CEO of BitFXT and things relating to blockchain technology and expert, we're looking at the second point here. We talk about skill power of digital block to cryptocurrency trading. I think this is an area where you can play very, very strongly. You can actually handle because this is your area of expertise. Am I correct, Mr. Franklin?
Yes, perfectly correct. It's very important. Of course, the entire lineup of training, each of them are very powerful. So I'm very, very excited to handle that very one. It's a skill that everybody needs to have, of course. And we're going to be focusing on BMCT, especially based on some opportunity that it's hands out to people who learn how to trade using it as well. So yes, I'm going to do that.
Good. So that aspect, because we want to be very practical. The essence why this is different from other ones is that after we have speak the grammar, we show them the way. According to Mr. Peters, yes, show them practical. So we don't leave them hanging. We want a situation whereby when we look back and people who are now millionaires can say they started from our training and their life changed for the better because they attended a free national digital education campaign that talks about an emerging digital economy. So the practical for us, the aspect is what is the DCOCO? Are you getting it? The practical part, yes, we need to tell them that. Now, knowledge capital of blockchain technology. In as much as you are going to be handling that, that does not mean that the time we will need you. There are sometimes, Mr. Peters, you may actually be handling knowledge capital of blockchain technology, because that's also an area where you're actually good in terms of what are some of the additional skills you get it that you can actually have, and then that can actually be a starting capital for you because you have that particular work knowledge. So we can actually open and expose that particular part. So anything relating to blockchain, cryptocurrency trading, are you getting cryptocurrency trading? I think yes, you can actually perfectly handle that. Dr. Chinwe, like you said, women are not left out. So the reason why we are having you two on this team is because we want the impact of women to be felt. And we want that message to go out there that there's a group of people, I get a community that is actually interested in restoring the place of women. It's not going to be a bad thing that we are actually talking in the United Nations, and then we have women who have actually passed through our training, and they are speaking about technology. Something that many people think that is an affair of the men. But now, women is actually doing what? They are handling that. So we want all the women who do not know, but they are interested. Are you getting it? But they are interested to take advantage of an emerging digital economy to be involved. So through the contribution of your network, we believe that we're going to have a lot of women that is going to come in. I know, Dr. Chinwe, the area of the core technicalities of blockchain may not be your area of specialization, but we know the impact of when women communicate with women and they are able to bring them to the fold. Secondly, it's not only going to be just technology that we're going to be talking about as we put this particular community together. We should be looking at things relating to leadership. We should also be looking at things relating to digital marketing. And then we can also be looking at things relating towards ethics. These are areas that you also have core expertise on. And I believe when we have put together this particular community, we can be spicing this particular information in the community. So no one is actually left out. And I also think that that's also an area where Dr. Stephanie would also function too, because she's also a pro and she has a lot of experience working with United Nations and pushing a lot of advocacy, for the women. In fact, when you listen to her and hear her talk, then you know that what a man can do for her, a woman can actually do even better. So we would be happy to have both of you, bring in the women community into this. We are also going to be very happy that we are going to organize customized special training class for the women community. In fact, if there are high-profile women that are still willing to learn, we are saying that the faculty can create this particular specialized training for them. Guys, let's take this to heart. We are starting this project on a free national basis, but it's not going to be totally free. It's not going to be free forever. But we want to adopt the freemium model to be able to prove the capacity of what we can do. Then after that, we now begin to enter phase 2, whereby we'll be talking about certifications and all of that. This would happen on this particular journey. The last but not the least, which is now on training focus on digital intelligence to avoid digital scam. I think at this particular point, BitFXT, Niger Crypto, is also a technology person, also very much interested in security. Are you getting it? And every one of us must be ready, because while it is an emerging digital economy, the truth is many people have fallen victim to scam. It is part of our mandate to prepare this community, those who are going to be associated with us, on how they can be smart, how they can identify scams, and how they can protect themselves. So that while this is an attractive subject, as people are flooding the market with different things, they don't get carried away, because they have been adequately trained and adequately informed. I think that will also make our activity stand out. That this is a group that is not only interested in passing the knowledge, but also protecting those who have identified with us. From next week, because whatever that is worth doing is worth doing well, and we need to get started. Many of us have already posted our masterclass already, and people are already asking questions. If we look closely to this, it says that offline training every Wednesday and Fridays, 11 a.m. Online training, Zoom channel, Mondays, Saturday, 8 p.m. I want us to talk about this so that we can begin to prepare ourselves. I know that Mr. Franklin Peters is already ready. He's good to go. He has been doing this all his life in terms of passing this knowledge, so that aspect is sorted. I also know that the CEO for for Niger Crypto is also ready, good to go to actually pass this information. Myself, I'm also ready, good to go. Are you getting it? And then I believe too that Dr. Chinwe and Dr. Stephanie, in terms of communicating and passing this information to those who need to hear and be informed about this new development, they are also what ready. But how do we actually go about it? Because when we kickstart this process, we want to maintain consistency. So I want us to talk about this offline training and the online training. Is it feasible? What are our thoughts on what we have here? Then we can now know if we are going by this, if we are going to change it, if we are going to adjust it. I think that particular, that's the next line of our discussion now. So I want to get feedback and contribution to this.
Yeah, can you repeat the question? You said you need the feedback. I lost you at some point.
Yeah, the question I'm talking about is we have our offline training and our online training. What do we think about what we have ready currently? What do we think about that? So that we can begin to plan towards getting started with it. Because we never met before this was put in place. And this has to do with our timing to be available, especially for the offline training. Offline training, for now, we want to get, we have a training facility in Beep House, which would contain at least between 40 to 50%, where we can begin to impact this particular word value. And then for the online, that would actually also open up the opportunity for those who are not close by to also connect with Zoom calls to actually join our training. So what I'm asking now is that, are we comfortable? Are we okay? Does this, fit into our schedule to be able to be present in these days that have been selected already?
My thinking is this. We're saying offline and online trainings. So when we're talking about the online trainings, it's I think we also need to find out, or rather consider, our audience. Okay, we're looking at the undergraduates and the graduates. Are we going to meet them in their place, or are they coming to meet us? When you say offline, are they coming to our office or not? I mean to the office, or rather to the lecture Beep House, Beep Magnet's house, I mean.
The offline training, what we are trying to say is that every Wednesdays by 11 a.m., we are saying that training is going to be going on at the house. Yes.
That's where that particular, timetable looks like it fits in better.
Yes.
Because we're talking about the African undergraduate students and the NYC corporates. I think those people are people that we're supposed to go meet.
Yes, we're going to go meet them.
Yeah. So I just want to make it a little bit clearer somehow.
Okay.
So we understand who are the target audience for the online and offline. It doesn't mean that they cannot. The NYC, they can't join us and all of that. I mean, students cannot join if they want to join. Okay, it doesn't really mean that. And then again, before we talk about the time, how do we get these people we talked about? There are other ways we can get them. If we can do targeted adverts, create a lead and all of that. Because from the form we have there, if we just put it up there on Facebook and wherever we put them, it's going to attract some people though, but there's a particular way we can. I think the digital guy knows what I'm talking about. He should understand it, but there's a way you try to put your advert so that it goes to a particular set of people who are going to be our audience. It's faster than to just put it there. Mr. What's his name again? The digital guy, I know he knows how to manipulate that aspect of it. So we can get the right people. We're looking at time. So time is such that we need to do a lot of publicity, a lot of adverts, so we can get people in the shortest possible time. So if we get them, I think this time you put here too, it's okay. The time here is okay, but I'm looking at that 8 o'clock most times. People are still on their way trying to get home and all of that. Most of the trainings online training sometimes starts by 8:30. Then people are sure that they're settled at home and they are ready to, they're not in a rush. 8:30 is usually good. Between 8:30 and 9, most Zoom meeting, people are good with it. That's my own thinking. I'm still trying to look at other things and I'll make other inputs where necessary.
Okay. I think Dr. Stephanie is up. Let's hear from her. Dr. Stephanie, I'm unmuting you.
Okay. Nice. He wants to run.
Hello, Dr. Steph.
He's running.
Dr. Steph, are you there?
I guess she's on the way.
She don't do anything.
No, the glass.
All right. Okay. So is there anything I'm missing out from this? Mr. Chigozie, you are here. Niger Crypto. Can we hear you, sir?
Okay, yes, I'm here. Okay, I didn't start from the beginning, so I didn't hear all you had to say, but from what I picked up, right, at least I think I get the whole, from what you said, from what Dr. Chinwe said, I think I get the whole point you're trying to make. Yes, as Dr. Chinwe said, 8 o'clock is a bit too early. A lot of people are still in transit, and I personally think maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock, so that everybody is settled at home and ready for the training. Then for the offline training, I would love to know what the plan is, who we are bringing on the table, who is the target audience, how we're getting them, and basically just what's the whole package will involve, and when do we intend to start? Like, do we have a timeline, or is it like we still have a possible timeline or a guarantee when this will be done? And that's it. And then what we will be talking about, what will we need to teach them and all that. So
okay, I think what I deduce from your question is what's the plan? You get it, yeah, in regards to the offline training. Now, part of our discussion entails that, yes, the targeted audience has been segmented. The university students simply means that we need to get to them. If we want to get all the undergraduates to be part of this, then we need to actually reach out to university, write them, plan with them, and then come and actually present this particular message to them. You understand? Now, we talked about NYSC. NYSC also entails that we need to also reach out to them, either when they are in camp, either at the local government level. We need to put up structures in place to be able to get to these people so that they can give us opportunity to talk. You get it? And then we actually pass information. And 2 days ago, I spoke with one of my mentors who has been working with NYSC for the last 10 years. And we spoke about this in terms of us coming to actually pass this information to core members. In fact, he said he's very much interested, and if possible, might take us to the DG of NYSC so that we can actually find a way to push this across the nation. So when that comes, it will also be important that we go as a team, because I've also shared this flyer with him. So he's also going to pass this particular information to the Director General. So we can also operate from that particular axis. Are you getting it? But in the interim, what we want to do is that we have a space before we start talking about that kind of big or massive conference. Are you getting it? We are looking at the possibility of every Fridays and Wednesday, because this is still at a free level. Are you getting it? We are not going to be spending money renting hotels and all of that for now. In the BIP house, we have a training conference there that can seat between 40 to 50 persons. So we want every Friday, Wednesdays and Fridays, to be more like the time that we are actually organizing a master class. So that that place is busy. Now we now look at what is the scope for those persons who are coming in. We have segmented it into 4 areas. We want people to understand the basic of what blockchain technology, so that nobody will say, I do not know, even if they are not playing there, but let them understand the basic, and we break it down so that the layman can understand. The more we have people that understand about blockchain, the more we are able to migrate them to begin to use our product and our service. I get it. So that is why the first subject is knowledge capital of blockchain technology. So we all are facilitators. We should develop this particular subject in terms of knowledge capital of blockchain technology. Bring it from different angles, because if you are handling that particular masterclass and you are holding to that particular subject, you should be able to communicate that. So you can be able to use your slide, are you getting it, on that particular day. So everyone should develop this subject, especially those of us who are technology driven. The second aspect is skill power of digital block and cryptocurrency trading. That's your core areas, because you own an exchange. And remember, we are focusing on BMCT, and this particular BMCT that we are focusing on is actually on the exchange. We want to actually show them how they can take advantage of trading and what are some of the basic skills that they need to be able to take advantage of this particular digital economy. There are no jobs, but it's possible that if you understand how you can be able to trade, then you can be able to do well. And then we now begin to do use cases. Now, the BMCT project have its own way of communication, its own way of connecting to this particular people. This would also be showcased, in that particular order. Then we now talk about the place of women in a digital economy. And that is also more of how do we actually now begin to let women know that they are not left out, that they have a role. Bring a statistical record of women who are doing well and areas that women can actually play. What are some of the skills that they need? Are you getting it? These are part of the things that would come forth from that. And then the last is digital intelligence to avoid digital scam. Now we're talking about security. We're talking about getting these people to be prepared, so that people do not just come from nowhere and then pass any information because they are vulnerable, they do not have knowledge. So how they can actually protect themselves. So this is the area for now that we are looking at. We can build our training and our presentations on. Hello, are you there?
Yes, we're here.
The network is a bit bad, but go on.
It's really very bad. The network is really bad. I wanted to say something, but the network is very bad. Yes.
Okay, we can hear you, so you can shoot. We actually unmuted you, so we can listen to you, madam. Dr. Stephanie.
Yeah. That's interesting. I'm more interested on meeting the DG of NYC, because we really need the corpus.
Okay.
Stuff like this, the corpus play a very important role. And this corpus will actually help us to market what we're doing very well. I also want to understand how are we going to handle this set of people, at Deep Magnet House. There's a need for you, Don, to segment them, put them in, there's a need for us to know who and who are meant to be participating at a certain point in time, because you'll be shocked, the crowd. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to prepare for stuff like this. You know, you talk about 60 participants and all that. You'll be surprised. Don't forget that it's free. But the certification, I'm sure they're going to pay for certification, right?
Of course, yes.
Good. But the training that, Nigerians love free stuff. You'll be amazed. You'll be shocked. So we have to be smart. We have to be ahead of the game. We have to plan ahead on how we're going to segment them, put them, how we're going to place them to participate and all that. That's my concern. In the women, I would love us to concentrate more, not just on indigent women, but you'll be surprised that a lot of well-placed women, well-read, exposed, are not even into this. They don't understand this. Bitcoin and all that, BMT coin and all that. There's a need for us to penetrate big companies where women lead to get involved. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stephanie. I think your point is well noted. And I think in order for us to manage the people who are going to come, because one thing I know for sure is that, yes, when we get started, the big magnet house may not be able to contain the people that will actually begin to come. So what I want to suggest is this. As we actually pass this information, let us emphasize that those who want to attend, let them fill up our form. It's very important.
Yes, very important.
Let them make sure that they enter and register on that particular form. So that from there, we can actually manage them. So when we have that data, we can now make a call. So if we want to focus on, 40 persons, we know from our data, we can extract and then we can be able to manage them. Otherwise, the whole crowd may come in at the same time and then we may not be able to get them. So I think that is key in terms of, as we invite people, make sure that they fill in that particular filling the Google form, and then we're going to get back or invite them to actually attend. I think that would help us manage that in this beginning phase of this particular project. The second point you mentioned, which has to do with well-placed women, yes, that should be customized programs for them. So we are also looking at, as we get started with a couple of successes, then we can actually be looking at those who are in the corporate space, how do we reach out to them, write to these particular people, and based on the track record of what we have done in our little masterclass, then we can have something to showcase to them that this is what we do and that we can create customized packages for them. So I believe that customized package is possible, and then they are also not going to be left out. You get it? So I think we are moving. Now, with regards to when are we going to get started, I want to say this, that effective from this week we are entering, Wednesdays and Fridays has been opened in the BIP house for training facility. But we can actually say we're going to use this week we are entering, are you getting it, to be able to draw a lot of attention to those who would be attending this program. Are you getting it? Those who will be attending the program. Let us capture their data. Let's use this week to market and drive activities for this. Then, based on the results, which we're also going to communicate to everyone in terms of what number have actually registered through the Google form, we're going to be passing that information. Then we can actually say, okay, based on this, then we can say maybe the upper week, then we can declare it officially open, that the classes is going to be in batches and the duration that this particular classes is going to actually run. That's my thought. I don't know whether any other person have other insight into this. If there is, do not hesitate to let it out, please.
My thinking is this. Normally, if you want to start any whatever, you have you set your mind to a particular date. Okay, so I think it's better we just say we're starting on this particular day. Whether you have one student, you have 10 students, so that will be a guide to tell you, if we don't have to wait until we see how many people who have registered or not. So if we know that we're starting in a week's time or we're starting in 2 weeks' time, so we're going to be looking at our database and say, oh, we don't have enough people. That means we have to work harder and all of that. But I think we should have a particular day fixed so people will get to know that, okay, we're starting this day and these people taking the lectures. We're giving us this week to prepare our minds and all of that. I am thinking it shouldn't be dependent on the people who are filling in the form. If we do the needful,
I have to freak
come.
when
If we do the needful, a lot of people will come because one, it's a free thing. And two, it makes us know that we're ready to start and we're ready to start.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If we look at our calendar, today is already 1st. Are you getting it? I am actually suggesting, let us use this week we are entering to do the needful. And then we should be looking at our offline. Offline, we say is Wednesday, so we know that effective from next week, that's my suggestion. From next week, Wednesday, are you getting it? Wednesdays and Fridays, we know that is on the Wednesdays, that's on the 12th. So we know that we are kickstarting on the 12th and on the 14th. That's when we are kickstarting. Are you getting 12th and 14th? So let's use this week, since we have all met, and then do the needful. Get people, share the flyer, talk about it, and know that, look, this is actually starting on this particular week. And the offline is actually Wednesdays and Friday, but the online is actually what? Monday. So we are not, offline is 13 and 14, but online is on Monday and Saturday. So that means on Monday should be on the 10th. So really, we're actually starting the online aspect of it on Monday on the 10th. Am I communicating? Monday on the 10th. So what the message we are going to now adjust is that since we are saying possibly 8:30, are you getting it? So that's the area that we'll look at it from. 8:39. Okay.
If you say 8:39, you already have a time. I think you already have a time on the flyer.
Exactly. Isn't it? So we stick with this time.
We can't accept, or we can't adjust if that has been sent out.
It has been sent out. So, let's stick with it. So we'll stick with 8. Other ones we can make such change as the case may be. But for now, let us stick with this one since this has already gone out. So 8 p.m. on Monday, that's on the 10th. So I'm marking this in our calendar. So we are starting actively week on the 10th. That's it, by next week. That's when we're actually getting started. So all those who are actually going to facilitate in terms of Franklin Peters, Mr. Chigozie, I get it myself, we're actually going to be on standby on this particular aspect of the presentation. We're going to get our slides ready and other things that is necessary that needs to be done. And as we make progress, we also intimate and inform everyone of what we have actually done. So that's that from that particular subject. And if there is any other thing or any other emergency that we need to meet before that particular time, we'll definitely communicate so that we can quickly have a quick meeting to discuss on that. But one thing we are taking away from this particular meeting today is that we're going to use this week to prepare ourselves, and then we're going to get started actively from Monday up a week. Any question, please? guys. In the absence of no other message or question, I think this is actually the beginning. Yes. Anybody there?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
here.
All right. So I think this is the starting of something that is great. Are you getting it? There are more things that is going to come. This faculty will grow, and then we would actually bring a lot of value to the table. So from time to yes.
Okay, sorry. I'm saying, are you sure the facilitators got it? They understood that they're supposed to start on Monday. I didn't hear anybody respond to that.
Not this
Yeah,
Monday.
we understood.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think this is how we are going to come to the end of this meeting, and this channel is going to be open. If there's any other quick updates, we'll also pass that across, and then we can actually connect. But we would actually be engaging more regularly to achieve the objective of this particular project. I want to thank everyone who have actually made that time to be in this particular Zoom call. And I believe that the desire for which we are coming together will be achieved, and we can actually look back to this day when we started this mission and the life that is going to be touched with it. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Good
much.
one.
Yeah,
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Steph. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Chinwe. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Okay.
All right, good night.